Hey, look at you, all grown up and needing car insurance. You don't have to freak out if you got a driving record that's not so hot or worry if you aren't sure exactly what you need. Able Insurance has your back. Pass up the national insurance companies where you're just another number and keep your auto insurance right here in Charlottesville. 979-0814 is the number. AbleInsurance.com is the site.
Go.
What up, though, Ball Hawk Show.
Say it one more time.
What up, though, Ball Hawk Show.
What up, though? Welcome to the Ball Hawk Show podcast. I'm your host, Amar Hawkins, and I thank you for taking time out of your day to check out the latest and greatest in the Ball Hawk Show. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Go to Apple Podcasts, go to iTunes, go to Google Play, BlogTalk Radio, PodBean. YouTube, I'm going to get my YouTube channel back up. I'm going to start a new YouTube. So if you guys have been a loyal listener, something happened with YouTube where they said that I guess some of my videos may have violated a community guideline. But sometimes you could just have folks going in there flagging a lot of your videos. The crazy part about YouTube is haters always win. So they could go in, they could flag your videos repeatedly, put in complaints, and lo and behold, they would just delete your page. So got to start all over, man. Got to start all over. So y'all be on the lookout for a new Ball Hawk Show podcast YouTube channel. And make sure you follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at I Am Ball Hawk. So this episode is going to recap the University of Virginia Cavaliers versus the Virginia Tech Hokies, a game that went down to overtime in front of 60,000 people at Lane Stadium. The Wahoos came up short, and the streak continues. It is at now 15 straight games that the Virginia Tech Hokies have won over the Virginia Cavaliers in football. The final score was 34-31. The Wahoos went into halftime down 14-0, but they came out, played very inspired in the third quarter. Tech all year had been very putrid in the third quarter, so the vibe and the excitement coming out of the locker room, and the sense of urgency, not the excitement, but the sense of urgency. You knew that if you were going to come back versus Virginia Tech, that you had to jump on them in the third quarter, and that's saw the Wahoo score 14 points in the third quarter alone, then score 17 points in the fourth quarter. The score of 31 points on the Virginia Tech defense says a lot about the progression of this offense, the progression of this program, and to do it in one half says that it was there all along. It was just all about everybody hitting on all cylinders. And we're going to discuss numbers first, and then we're going to get into some analysis, my thoughts. I know everybody want to hear about the end of the game, the decisions made at the end of the game by offensive coordinator, Coach Anai, and where do we go from here as far as the rivalry. So without further ado, let's go ahead. Shout out my sponsor, Able Insurance, and we're going to go ahead and look at these numbers. AbleInsurance.net. If you need any insurance, life, auto, business, holla at Billy and Charlene White at AbleInsurance.com. So the numbers, team stats. First downs, UVA had 22 to Virginia Tech's 21. Rushing yards, which I thought was the biggest key of the game. Virginia Tech had 254 yards rushing to UVA's 164. So when you talk about rushing offense, coming into the game, UVA was averaging 171 yards rushing. They were held to 164. Conversely, Virginia Tech came in averaging 164, and they ended up with 254. So 90 yards over their average. And then when you look at rush defense, UVA came in yielding 148, which was 6th in the ACC. And Virginia Tech came in yielding 208 rushing yards, which was 11th. So I felt like anytime you go against a Bud Foster defense, you have to be able to run the football, and UVA demonstrated that they can run the football. But what you can't do, conversely, or on the other end, is allow the opposing team's offense to outrush you. And it seems like games that we were outrushed, unless you're looking at Liberty, we lost. When you look at Pitt, when you look at Georgia Tech, and now you look at Virginia Tech. Now, granted, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech came down to the wire, so you may could throw those two out of there. And we understand Georgia Tech, that's all they did, so that might be an outlier. But that played a role because, Run Fit still wasn't to the liking of the coaching staff and to myself, because you understood what type of players we had on defense. But then you look at the passing yards. UVA had 259 passing yards to Virginia Tech's 199. So Virginia Tech came in averaging 257 yards passing. We held them to less than 200 yards, 1 yard under. We came in averaging 207, and we had 52 additional yards over our average. In passing defense, they came in allowing 228. We hit that. We came in averaging 178. We gave up 199. But you can offset the rushing yards as to why. I guess they wasn't running as much, but they still had 34 attempts. So both teams were pretty balanced. When you look at passing plays and run plays, Virginia Tech attempted 45 run plays to 34 passing plays, while UVA attempted 29 pass plays to 38 run plays. Total offense, Virginia Tech had 453 yards on 79 plays, while UVA had 423 yards on 67 plays. So those are just some of the team stats. I guess we can look at miscellaneous. We understand the block points. So UVA basically had 3 fumbles. That's what they got us down for. So 3 turnovers. And then we caused 1 interception. They were 1 for 1 on 4th down. We were 5 of 13 on 3rd down. It was 6 of 18. They had the ball for 31 minutes. We had the ball for 28 minutes. We gave up 1 sack. They gave up 1 sack. So those overall team stats. And individually, Bryce Perkins, what more can you say about this young man? 259 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, sacked just 1 time. He also had 112 yards rushing. Jordan Ellis had 52 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. He averaged 4.3 yards per carry on just 12 attempts. And Bryce Perkins attempted 24 rushes, and he averaged 4.7 yards per attempt. Ryan Willis, he only had 199 yards passing, but he made some big throws late. The thing that made me nervous coming to the game was his ability to extend pockets with his legs, and it became even more evident that last drive that led him to a score, the tying score, and then the overtime when he got away from Snowden. But we'll talk about that. Peoples led the way for Virginia Tech. He had 96 yards rushing on 19 carries for 5.1 yards per attempt. You look at receiving, Joe Reed led the way, 4 catches, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a 75 running catch, and then he had the one hand on the fade where the receiver was holding him and nothing was called. Hassis Dubois had 3 catches, 58 yards, 1 touchdown. Lamade Zaccheaus, 4 catches, 55 yards. Terrell Jenner, 2 catches, 19 yards. Jordan Ellis, 1 catch, 8 yards. I would like to see more of Jenner, though. I think Jenner is going to be a very good receiver as his career progresses. Trey Turner led the way for Tech, 4 catches, 69 yards, 1 touchdown. That 1 touchdown was very impressive. Had a one-handed fade that was kind of a throw behind back shoulder on Bryce Hall. Phenomenal catch. But that's it. And defensively, Juan Thornhill led the way, 14 tackles. Right now, I think Juan has 92 tackles, so 8 more tackles in the bowl game or more. He'll have over 100 tackles on the season. Jordan Mack had 10 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 1 sack. I think Jordan Mack in the second half played probably the best football he's played all year, just with his run fake, his ability to slow himself down, slow his feet down, be 1 gap behind, be impatient, not guessing. I really like what I saw with Jordan Mack. Chris Peace played inspired. He had 7 total tackles. Tim Harris had the big pick before halftime. and he got caught by the quarterback. I know a lot of people giving him a hard time for the simple fact that, Willis was actually bumped by the referee, but, things happen. The football guys just didn't want to see Tim score, man. It's a lot of second guessing you can do to a football player once you look at it on film, and now you have the opportunity to see the entire field and replay it in your head. Snowden, that kid's phenomenal. 2 pass breakups. He had a pick on his own tip. He was rushing the passer. He was everywhere. Bryce Hall had a breakup. Eli Handback, I thought he played very inspired at nose tackle. He might find a home at nose tackle. He does an exceptional job when he's playing at nose tackle. Redmond's very good also, the freshman. But Eli Handback is just a man. Rob Snyder played well. I just think in the first half, I'll get to the analysis right now instead of going through more and more numbers. So we get to the analysis part. Brought to you by STHUjuice.com. If you're looking for Shut the Hell Up Juice apparel, my clothing line, make sure you go to STHUjuice.com. Get your Petty Hawk gear, your Be Great gear, and your Shut the Hell Up Juice established gear and hoodies also. So go to Hold on. Did I just get my daggone website on? STHU Juice. Man, you could tell it's been a long weekend of trying to come up with the right words to break down what happened in the game. Just go to STHUjuice.com. So let me see. What should I start off with? Should I start off defensively or offensively, Wahoo fans? Which side of the ball should I start off with? Offensively, defensively, offensively? Let me see. If I get into the offense first, let's go with the defense first. We started with defense. So defensively, I felt like the Wahoos did what they had to do coming out of the game, right? No points, holding steady, missed field goal, bend but don't break. You give up a couple big runs starting the game, 9 and 8 yard rushes, but you hold firm, cause a missed field goal, cause punts. You're doing what you're supposed to do. You're taking the confidence away of a inconsistent offense. And I think the first half we were snake bitten like we was versus Pitt with just our inability to really slow ourselves down when it came to scraping a hole away and trusting your brother with their run fits. I always tell you guys, run fits is more communication and trust, right? Understanding pre-snap, formation, what's your responsibility, snap of the ball, playing and seeing and executing that responsibility. And a lot of times we will have guys on the same plane or having guys stacked. So if I'm flowing to the football from right to left and you're flowing to the football right to left, if you're the very inside guy, you have to trust that I'm going to create a cutback for the offensive guy based off taking on the oncoming blocker that's going to allow you to be free to make a solo tackle. It just seemed like a couple of times that we will have 2 guys chasing the same defender, but instead of playing in unison, it would be hero ball, like, I'm going to get there before you. It was almost like we was pushing each other out of the way to get to the ball carrier. Thus, when the guy who got there first is trusting that you're going to be trailing to his right, not on the same plane, not stacked, but beside him, forming a wall, we will have guys lined up behind each other. And that created a lot of running lanes and cutback lanes for Willis or his backs or receivers on jet sweeps. And that's how you knew emotion was kind of taking over in our defense. They were so amped and so excited about making a play and getting to the football, and the fact that they read run fast or they read whatever was coming fast. Because sometimes as a defender, right, when you can sniff a play out, you get anxious. Like as a DB, I could sense by formation, down the distance, where the ball is at. I know the slant is coming. And instead of reading my keys and taking my read steps appropriately, making sure my leverage is not squared and taken away by the receiver, we get anxious and we may jump right in there and try to take the slant away. And they may have a read route on to where, he's taking a slant. I'm going to take it over top. And the quarterback sees you really jump on the slant and it hits you over the top. Our defenders were seeing the powers, the zones, the stretches, And they were beating the blocker so much that they were actually creating cutback lanes. Instead of what we call slow playing in this, you understand that it's coming, but you're carrying out your assignment and you're making sure that you're taking everything away and you're allowing your brother, who you know is free, to make the play. You're entrusting in them that they can make that play. And I thought in the second half, we got better with that. But in the first half, it were times where we would have a running back bottled up, and just too many guys came in there like crash dummies and was knocking each other off the ball carrier. We're coming down with our head down. And that's how Virginia Tech saw a lot of their success. And that's football. They're on scholarship also. Their offensive coordinator devises a game plan and formations to try to hit calls. And there was times to where they would just beat us by the alignment and they'd get big plays. So I'm not saying that anytime Virginia Tech got a big play, it was because of what we did incorrectly. Sometimes they just hit calls. Sometimes they had 6 guys to block the 5 guys we had in the box. You can see Willis checking to a run, and they're changing the blocking scheme to better benefit them. So that does happen. So I'm not saying that every time, like I said, I'm not saying every time that Tech has something go well that it was something we didn't do right, because this is football. You could do everything perfectly, but if it's well executed, they will be successful. But as the game progressed, I felt like we started playing more inspired. In the secondary, I felt like we gave them a little bit too much space. I felt like we could have challenged their receivers that much more, just because I felt like the times we did come up and challenge them, we made plays. The touchdown catch they caught on Bryce Hall was just a well-executed offensive play, throw and catch. He was there. He got his hands on the receivers. He shuffled at the line of scrimmage. The receiver took a wide release. He cut him off at the interception point, took the upfield shoulder. He looked back for the football, but it was a throw behind, and the receiver had one hand that was available because Bryce did a great job of clamping that upfield shoulder and that upfield arm. And the young man made a great catch. And that's when you just tip your hat. You don't feel you feel bad, but you tip your hat because they're on scholarship also. But I felt like anytime they ran the RPO type of scheme to where they faked it to the back on the inside zone, anytime there was a receiver that was tight to the formation, we supposed to know. They showed you all season. When they put it in the belly of the running back and he pulls it out, they're running the slant across your face. That's RPO one-on-one. And we do it ourselves. Anytime you got a tight receiver, he's the only threat. You have to know he's stemming you inside. He's trying to stem. There's only one reason a receiver is going to stem you to your inside shoulder. He's telling you, I have to get in there. That's a clear indicator as a corner. If you're paying attention to the stem and you notice that you're getting stem, and you should notice by the fact that you're weed pedaling, that your muscle memory takes over. You should know I went from the numbers to now close to the hash. Bingo, some inside coming. Or if you see that his outside shoulder pad is now on your inside shoulder pad, because you know he's not going to come out. Or if you're inside technique and you realize after 4 steps, he's still on the outside shoulder, that speed out is coming. I just felt like our route recognition wasn't up to par as it was before, and maybe we didn't respect their receivers, or maybe they just ran good routes. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, and you guys can hear me, and it's being recorded, and it's being released. Like I said, I'm not ridiculing our guys, but I just felt like we could have been more aggressive to their receivers. Hindsight is 20/20. You always look for ways, what you could have done to win. But overall, defensively, I thought we responded well in the second half. Like I said, the run fits were better. When you get to the last drive before overtime, so the last drive in which they scored, right? The play that everybody's talking about was when their big tight end had the big catch over Bryce Hall. Everybody's like, Bryce Hall, man, pick that off or break it up. Here's what people got to realize. When you watch the film, so I don't know if the TV copy is going to show you this because I don't watch the TV copy. I watch end zone and sideline copies, the same ones the players watch. You see that it was a scramble drill. It was in some type of zone. Bryce Hall is on the left side of the field. The tight end is in the slot. The receiver runs like a 10-yard stop or maybe a 5-yard hitch. Bryce Hall does what any great football player is going to do. He's going to look for work, so he sloughs off deep to short, understanding the moment. Willis gets some pressure. He starts to roll away from Bryce Hall. Bryce Hall, understanding the dynamic of a quarterback receiver in the scrimmage drill, he kind of lurks to the right side of the field. Now, granted, he's been a football player right now, not a robot, because his responsibility is just supposed to be deep thirds on his side. So when Willis rolls to his left, Bryce Hall kind of follows him, and he sees that our safety bites down on the mesh route. He takes the bait because of scramble. He's going to the nearest guy to where the safety actually should drop back. So the safety comes down to a receiver that's actually going to the left, away from Willis, if I could recall. And Willis looks up, sees the tight end. And as soon as Willis sees the tight end, Bryce Hall, that 24-mile-an-hour speed of his, he takes off. And before you know it, Bryce Hall gets there so fast that he doesn't even realize that he outruns the flight of the football to where he undercuts it now. Because Bryce is thinking, since Willis is rolling to his left, that the ball is going to come out hot, that he's going to put it on him. And I would have thought the same thing. But Bryce probably didn't realize he was going to get there that fast either. And Bryce's path is a natural undercut path. So he kind of undercuts the football to where the ball is actually kind of thrown over his head. But Bryce, being over 6 feet tall, he puts his long arms up. So now he has to over-shoulder the catch like he was in center field playing baseball. Well, Virginia Tech tight end does a great job of high pointing the football. He comes back to the ball. He could have just kept running and be like, oh, quarterback, you underthrew me. It ain't my fault if you throw a pick. But no, he wants to make a play for his quarterback. He comes back, and he just takes the ball away from Bryce. When they hit the ground, he pulls it. Ty goes to the offense anyway, but when he fell second. So Bryce falls first, and the momentum of the tight end, the fact that he's coming downhill, allows him to pull the ball away from Bryce. So I see a lot of folks saying, oh, Bryce should have caught that. The fact that Bryce was there was just phenomenal in itself. That's just what I'm trying to say. So sometimes we see the end product, but when you go back and you break down the film, I'm like, damn, Bryce, I'm just glad you were there. Now we fast forward 3 plays later, inside zone, guys over. We got 2 free guys on the right side of the field, but the running back cuts it back to where nobody is at, and we're thinking 6. But good thing 29 is back. Good thing old Joey Blunt was back in the game, being a ball hawk that he is, of knowing where the ball is always at and always has a nose for the football, never giving up. Running backs coming downhill. And the worst position you could be in the DB is being that backside safety, and the running back cuts it back and he rolling downhill 100 miles an hour. Joey Blunt coming back on 1 foot, takes one for the team, and actually delivers a blow. He ain't just what we call ball up and close his eyes. No, he thumped him. He put his face right on the football like you teach. I think now they teach you to put your head on the other side, but when I was playing, you always put your face on the football. They try to tell you now, put your face behind, put your shoulder in front, and grab the leg and roll like a crocodile alligator roll to keep from getting concussion. But he went old school. He put his face right on the football. The face bloop bloop. The football pop out after the running back almost do a frontwards flip or sideways flip. So shout out to Joey Blunt on that, and welcome back, Joey. You gotta realize Joey Blunt was out that thing gutting it out. Talking about ankle injury, playing DB. And by the end of the game, the medicine wore off that he took, and he couldn't even operate no more. So that was just pure heart and hustle. Just the fact that he played that game, and he was very effective this game playing, covering. And then the ball lands in the end zone, and Brent Nelson sees it at the last minute because his momentum was already taking him to make a game-saving tackle at the goal line. So when the ball popped out, he had to change I can't even speak. Trajectory or his path. And when he tried to change his path, the ball just popped right down in front of him, and he just couldn't fall on it. I know hindsight is 20/20. I'm standing on the sideline, damn, just kick it out of bounds. And I'm older. I'm 39 years old. I've been through 4 years of college. I've been coached by some of the better defensive coaches, with the Falcons, with the Chiefs, been around all pros. So I've been in those meetings where they say, hey, man, if you get a fumble in the end zone, don't try to recover. Just kick it out the end zone. It's a safety, and your offense get the ball back. So that's me. I've been out of school for 18, 19 years. So I have plenty of OG knowledge to know and wherewithal. Kick it out of it. So when I saw the fumble and I see Brenton by the ball, I'm beside Jay James. I'm like, kick it out of bounds, Brenton. Just kick it out of bounds. And when I saw him try to scoop it, I was just like, oh, hell. His momentum's not going to allow him to fall on the football. Usually, another technique is to scoop and score. Pinkies down, thumbs up, and scoop up. That way, if you try to scoop and you miss and you mishandle the football, it goes forward to where you wanted to go, and it would have went out of bounds. But didn't work out. They recovered the fumble. And then we go to overtime. We forced a 3-and-out. The last play, Snowden did all. Snowden, man, played a phenomenal game. So I don't even want to harp on that. He had the quarterback. I think his momentum, he was going to try to sling him down, similar to what Jordan Mack did when he got his sack. And Willis just made a great play. He made a great play. But this is the same Charles Snowden who was falling down on the ground, getting up, and still rushing the quarterback, batting balls down. Like I said, sometimes the football gods speak, louder than what we want and what we desire. And it wasn't meant to be. But conversely, on the offensive side of the ball, we were bad in the first half. We were very bad, very tentative, very predictable, very boring. Too much respect for Bud Foster and that wide tackle 6. Trying to run the ball, we just run straight at their inside. So wide tackle 6, they force you right to the inside linebackers, and we doing right what we want. Anytime Jordan Ellis had success, he either had to run over one of their over-anxious linebackers who were just too excited for my liking, or if we truly wanted to run and play, we use number 3. And Ellis, and Perkins was doing this thing. But anytime we want to run the football, I'm going to keep saying this to the day he not here anymore. Anytime Virginia wants to run the football with a running back and you want positive yards, run behind R.J. Proctor. I'm serious. He be out there straight scooping and laying people down. And he get you a 2-for-1. He'll get you a chip, tandem block, and he'll go up to the next level. I'm serious, man. Any game I watch and Jordan has a successful run, it's usually to the left side and 78 leading the way. Bang, bang, boogie. So going to this bowl game, Jordan Ellis need 80 yards for 1,000. Run behind RJ. Run it to the left side. I don't know, something about the left side. Even when RJ not in. Gleason Jr. could be in. It don't matter. It's just something about the cut back to the left side. Maybe Jordan just got to realize it. Man, I'm going to go ahead and cut back to the left side. I'm just saying. So shout out to RJ, man. I know RJ done been through some things to where he's the starter, not the starter. He's been rotating. And I feel like our offensive line actually did well protecting the quarterback also. I just feel like the wide tackle 6 is a difficult defensive front to figure out when you're trying to run the football. So if you want to beat the wide tackle 6, guess what you have to do? Spread them out. Let it fly. Don't even have to be deep balls. It could be quick hitters, so which we tried to do. But in any aggressive defense, you got to show that we'll take a shot on you. We took a shot with Tavares Kelly in the first half. They had a blown coverage. He ran right by in the corner. Ball was a little underthrown. He's still young. Sometimes it's hard judging. When you're running deep like that and you have to slow down and you put your hands out. So anytime, as a receiver, we always say lay hands, right? So when a receiver's running on a DB, people always hear lay hands, lay hands. The reason why we always tell receivers use lay hands is not to throw the defensive back off to where he can't defend the football. Now, that may be the most obvious thing, but you want to know why you always want to put your hands out late as a receiver? Because you ever try running down the street or just sprinting and putting both hands out in front of you? You notice how the earth start to bounce? Because now you're just running with your legs. So your arms balance out your legs, and it keeps things from bouncing. It keeps, you ever see people running the track and their cheeks bouncing up and down? Well, when you pump your arms, it's keeping you balanced. So the earth stays level. But when you put your arms out, and I want you to do this right now, stop your car or stop this podcast, go outside and run in the front yard and put your arms out, but run full speed and watch how the earth start bouncing up and down. That's why receivers, we put our hands out the last minute. So with Tavares, he was running down the field, he's looking back for the football, and everything's balanced. And when he had to slow down, he put his arms out early. to kind of catch it because you could tell he didn't want to really stop. He wanted to catch it with his, on his feet. He's young. He wanted to score, right? If he would have just stopped and waited on it, yeah, he probably would have caught it. But that's easier said than done. He's 4.3 fast. It's hard trying to break when you that fast, okay? I'm speaking from experience. I ran a 4.37. It's not the easiest thing to just stop on a dime on a deep ball because you got in your mind, I'm rolling. I got to get out. I ain't stopping. And he just dropped the football. It happens. I dropped the touchdown pass versus North Carolina the same year I had to catch versus Virginia Tech. It happens. Wide open, scramble drill. I put my hands out early. The earth started bouncing, and I dropped the ball in the right end zone by the hill. Go back and look at that North Carolina game. Aaron Brooks was scrambling. I ran deep on the post route. The ball was coming. I put my hands out too early. Earth started bouncing. Didn't know where the ball was at. Bloop, bloop. Hit my hand just like it hit Tavares. So it happens. Then the second half, we come out. We start saying, you know what? These Virginia Tech DBs not that good. We're going to take some shots. Joe Reed ran a little quick out and up, and it wasn't the best out and up. The out and up was so if I'm that DB, why would I bite on that out when I'm already that close? The DB was already within 4 yards. Joe Reed runs a little, what we call lull you to sleep speed out. It wasn't even a speed out. It was a walkout. That's how I was surprised that it worked. That's how you know those dudes wasn't the best when it comes to just covering. They were athletic. They can run. But when it comes to reading keys and pattern reading, they wasn't the best. And we should have went at them that much more. And I'm not trying to diss any young man that's playing this sport. I'm just speaking from the competitive edge. And the competitive edge is me versus the wide tackle 6 is you go 4 wides and you say, Bud Foster, either you're going to blitz me and I'm going to kill you, or you're going to go against what you love to do, and now I got you right where I want you. And once we started throwing the football at them, and Joe caught that one-handed touchdown to where he was interfered on the whole, number 5 was grabbing the whole game. He was doing what we call the top shoulder tug. He was grabbing on your top of your shoulder, the inside shoulder, he was tugging it, and for some reason the refs won't throwing it. Throwing the flag. And they started throwing the flag on him later, but we could have got pass interference on him anytime we wanted because he was panicking every time we went at him. All he did was grab. That's his new nickname, just grab. But let me stop. Like I said, as a young student athlete, he's not a pro, so I don't go at student athletes like I do with pros. The biggest difference in the second half, the reason why we scored 31 points is because we wasn't afraid to be great. We took risks. We made plays. When we ran the football, we showed some variations in our run plays. We ran some mesh routes. We do have crossing routes in our playbook. Can you imagine that? Man, we should have been running crossing routes. That's what I meant to say too, Coach. Always run a crossing route when you have a dual threat quarterback. Why? Because now the back has got to make a choice. Am I going to cover this crossing route, which can probably come out on the back end, or am I going to make sure I spy this dynamic quarterback? Anytime, starting this bowl game, we pass the football, send a receiver across the face of Bryce Perkins at all costs, all the time. Because every defense is going to use linebackers to spy Bryce. And if they don't, they barbecue chicken. Every time. Every time. And then this takes us to the part of the podcast which is very difficult for me. That took me 2 days to really break down, evaluate, and put it in English without it being very vulgar. After Snowden gets his pick, and we're in the red zone, why on Wahoo's green earth did we not just take shots through the air? But then the other half of me is like, the defense been doing good. Keep the ball in number 3 hand. But then Petty Hawk in me is like, this Virginia Tech. They like being in the red zone. You got to spread them out. They loading up the box. They looking for the run. This is the part of the podcast where it's difficult because even as an offensive coordinator, what do you do, right? the big plays you've been having a lot of feel. Even Hasise Dubois touchdown, you wasn't that close to the red zone. How long was Hasise touchdown? Let's see. 29 yards. So give it to you. So you had the 30-yard line, right? So you got a lot of room. We ran a quarterback run, and then we did a sprint out with a hook and a wheel route, right? Now, I thought that Bryce could throw it to us. I wish we did a slant arrow wheel. So you run the slant with his seats like you did when he scored. You got that total reaction. And then you run the arrow route with a line with a. See if you get a natural pick. If you don't get a natural pick, somebody would declare early. If they don't declare early, then you have the run pass option. Because now you will get a definite panic mode. Now you can, obviously, Hasise can wheel around from his slant and become an even better target in the back of the end zone. But see, that's hindsight is 2020. Let's go back to the first two plays. I feel like anytime you generate a turnover, you always take a shot to the end zone, no matter what. That's just how I've been taught around many coaches I've been around, whether it was Dick Vermeil, whether it was Coach Mike Daly for the Colorado Crush and Arena Football. Anytime your defense generates a turnover, you take a shot at the end zone. And I felt like once we got the interception with Snowden, Virginia taking a shot right there probably would have surprised the hell out of Virginia Tech. Now, lo and behold, when we got the ball back with 3 minutes, when we were back, when they punted and we got it back, Bud Foster wasn't sending people at us anymore. He was in another base offense, but I felt like we should have still spread them out. And if we were going to run Perkins, we should have ran quarterback draws out of spread. Like, if we're going to run Perkins, let's have some passing threats on the outside that forces a linebacker or a safety to truly go out there and respect the matchups and the personnel. Because if you look at the plays to where we just ran 3 quarterback runs, we had a tight end, a running back that always go in motion that we never use in the passing game. Like, anytime we have Lamar Atkins in the game and we motion him, defenses know we aren't going to do anything with him that much. They understand. They get paid too. Now, if you have 31 in there, you have Chris in there, you put him in motion, they know, he might run the wheel route, you might get a little bit of reaction. If we have Coley in there on the edge, they know he's going to stay in, he's going to block, and he's going to have to block it in. But my thing was this. I just felt like I have no issue with you keeping the ball in Perkins' hand. He's gotten us here. He's been making phenomenal plays. I just felt like the play conception wasn't good. The scheme, anything you could say that's analytic in the football terms, schematically, it was incorrect. Now, yes, we're probably saying that because we know the result, but I just felt like anytime you had 4 wides or you went 5 wides, they had to conform to you. It was a dead giveaway what they were going to do. When we get into overtime, we ran the one play that they figured out. I don't know if you guys realize, but as we started running those inside, those zone reads, and after Perkins broke early in the fourth quarter to where he faked it to Jordan, the end dove all the way in, and Perkins, didn't have the burst to really finish the run, but I think he had like 15 to 20 yards in that run. After that play, what Virginia Tech started doing was on the same side as if Jordan Ellis was coming inside zone towards a certain side, and we had a receiver out, a slot receiver flanked out, the linebacker playing in between the last man on the line of scrimmage and the slot guy, they were triggering. Anytime they saw that zone read look, they were triggering. Why? Because they had an end taking away Jordan, and they had a trigger guy going to hit Perkins in the mouth. And that's what happened when the fumble took place. We ran the inside zone look. I think it was an RPO because Perk was pulling it to throw, right? But that end crashed so fast with bad intentions because he understood all I have is the running back because my brother is triggering outside of me. And Perkins saw that the guy was triggering, so his thought was to get the ball out quick and try to get it up before getting hit in the mouth. It just popped out his hand. Virginia Tech hit the call. But that's something we should have seen earlier because they made an adjustment after Perkins had that big run. They adjusted to that. We happened to give it to Jordan one time, and he got hit in the mouth, but you saw that backer was coming too. So that's what happened with that play. Overall, with the game, it just goes to show that this rivalry doesn't just affect the young guys. It affects the coaches as well. Offensively, I felt like we got tight. I felt we got nervous. You got to go for the juggler. When you lose 14 straight, now 15 straight to somebody, what do you have to lose? Now, I know if you go out there and you throw the football around and then a pick happens or you get 3 incompletions, fans are going to say, what are you doing? You should have ran the clock out, make them use timeouts. So it's a lose-lose. I get it. That's sports, all right? And I'm ball hawk. I'm always going to give you the devil's advocate so people can see, well, yeah, you complain about this, but what if they would have did that? Are you sure you would have still had the same energy? So, but when people say, Coach and I, you got to get more physical right here. You got to understand what's at stake. I want to take people back to 98, right? Because everybody knows about the catch. But let me take you behind the scenes. Even the great George Walsh in that instance only wanted the field goal. He just wanted to get us in position to be in field goal range and tie it up at all costs. That's what he wanted. I understand we starting backed up. Let's make some small plays. Let's not do nothing done with the football. We understand how much time was on the clock, how many timeouts we got. Let's get in field goal range. Make sure we at least tie it up. So really no true sense of urgency. So with that being said, I know everybody see the end results, right? Of me scoring, Aaron throwing to me scoring, but that wasn't supposed to happen. Yes, we threw the football. Yes, it was a deep route call versus one-on-one. We'll take a shot. They coming after us. End up being a game winner. But even that thought process was to be safe. Because Coach Wells was one of the most safest coaches I ever been around. And I was thinking on the drive back here to Charlottesville, like, damn, what would Coach Wells would have did? Well, I already know. I've been through it before. Now, Sparky Woods was calling the plays. And on that drive, yes, we were throwing more than running. We had to. We couldn't really run against them that day. So, but I will say this. Coach Woods stayed true to what was working. And I think that's the biggest difference. What was working in that second half was our ability to throw the football. And I felt like if you're going to fail with what was going right in that situation. And again, hindsight is 20/20. I'm not one of the guys up here saying fire Coach and I've seen the progression of Coach and from year one to today. I've seen what he's done with the young quarterback named Bryce Perkins who came in. That everybody was saying a superior athlete. Well, what can he do throwing the football? He just tied in the ACC this year with passing touchdowns. He just broke the Virginia record for touchdown responsibilities and total yards from scrimmage this year. And he was learning on the job. And you want to talk about a leader that was revealed to the world. Toughness that's been revealed to the world by a guy that wears number 3. Just something about when you wear that jersey number 3 lately. And since the great Anthony Poindexter, probably should have had it retired. But then when a great like Quinn Blandon and then another great like Bryce Perkins starts wearing it, it's not a bad thing to have 3. But, I'm not a guy that's going to say fire Coach or not. That's just not my style anymore. That used to be my style. Fire this coach, fire that coach. Coaches have a livelihood. Yes, they have responsibility. Yes, they have to have accountability. Do I agree with his comments in post-game? No. I'm a big accountability guy, and I'm always going to look at myself first. When I did coach, when I was offensive coordinator at Charlottesville High School or defensive coordinator at Greene County High School, I always blame myself first. I always threw myself on the sword first. If players didn't play well, I didn't prepare them well. If they didn't execute like they were supposed to, it was something in my communication, something in my scheme that didn't allow them to execute to the best of their ability. That's what I'm going to say in front of everybody. But everybody's not built the same. And I'm not thinking less of coaching now as a man just because he doesn't approach things the same way that I do. So I can't disagree with him on that. I would like for him, for once, when we lose Virginia Tech, to just say, I got to do a better job. That's it. That's all you have to say. That's what the people want to hear, because we always tell players to hold themselves accountable. So I understand the vitriol that's coming towards coaching now, because you understand the standard. And you see Coach Bronco Mendenhall always say, I love my team. Give credit to Virginia Tech. And then he looks on the bright side. So I understand the vitriol towards coaching now. Everybody's wondering if he's going to be back. Is his contract up? What does that say about coaching Coach Bronco if he keeps coaching now? Yes, Coach Bronco has fired coaching now before. Will we hire from within? I saw a tweet that Coach Beck actually calls the offensive plays or some of the offensive plays. Hey, man, in some offense, you have a passing coordinator or a running coordinator. We don't know. We just know Coach Anai is the offensive coordinator. If Coach Beck is calling plays, at the end of the day, guess who's still the boss of the offense? And who can say yay or nay? Coach Anai. Now, I will say this about defensive coaches. Defensive coaches usually don't step in with offensive play calling. So Bill Belichick not going to give his 2 cents on offense with the Patriots. Al Grove would kind of step back. I mean, Mike London would step back. I mean, I've seen defensive coaches, they want to give out suggestions what the offense should do to help out their defense, but they kind of stay out of it because they don't want to open up that Pandora's box of having the offensive guy questioning what they're doing on defense to better help out their offense. So I'm not going to get up here and say fire coach or not. I'm going to take the same approach as I do with any person that I'm evaluating. Compare their past year versus this year, and I'm going to do that on a season review, and we can really go down that road. We can really dive in, but this podcast, I think, has been long enough. We could really dive in on each individual coach, and I can evaluate, in my own opinion, what each individual coach did good compared to last year, and blah, blah, blah. I can do an episode for that for you guys, but I just think it's so easy right now to really degrade and diss Coach Anai just because the offense was on the field first, the last 2 games, in overtime, and it didn't work out in our favor. Or the last 2 games in the red zone, the offense was very conservative and wasn't as aggressive as they were early in the game. So I understand that. But I'm going to need a whole episode to truly break bread with y'all and truly evaluate, in my opinion, what should go on after the bowl game. That's it. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I apologize for the delay. It just took me a couple of days to really get my thoughts together without sounding like a little whiny 9-year-old and blaming Russ for not making this call, not making that call, and why you not doing this right and that right. Salute to Tech fans who got up under my skin and had me retweeting some disrespectful stuff that I'm really ashamed of, and really ashamed of the way that I represented the university last Wednesday. When I retweeted some insensitive racial slurs that were sent my way. But even though it wasn't my words, I retweeted it, so I gave it that much more power, and I've since deleted it. But I did embarrass the program, so I apologize for that. And, I just start deleting folks and blocking folks because I don't need that energy. But it did reveal to me that maybe I'm doing something right, because people I don't know and I really don't care for feel like they have to try to come at what I'm doing and trying to stop my path to greatness. So I appreciate that. It was just validation for me that I'm doing something in a positive manner, and that I may be getting closer and closer to what my end goal wants to be. But with that being said, I want to apologize to Wahoo fans that did not agree with me retweeting, the insensitive and homophobic slurs that were said towards me, that I was sarcastically responding to. It wasn't a good look. It wasn't professional, and it doesn't look good for the program that I'm so connected to, that I try to represent at all times. So, the motto, good is the enemy of great, be great in everything that you do. Petty Hawk is on timeout. He got us in trouble Wednesday. Nah, but for real, no Petty Hawk today, but I definitely appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. It's still Wahoo, Wah to the day, IDIE. No matter what, it's still beat tech. It's still going to stay on the wall. We're just going to restart the clock. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. And when we stop the streak, we're going to start our own streak. And we're going to return the favor. So, yes, they got us. Good job by them. It wasn't meant to be, but they're going to respect us. Salute to Bryce Hall, first team All-ACC. Salute to Juan Thornhill, first team All-ACC. Salute to Chris Peace, third team All-ACC. Salute to Alameda Zacchaeus, first team All-ACC. Salute to Joe Reed, third team. Salute to Evan Butts, honorable mention. My man J Train, honorable mention. My man Bryce Perkins, honorable mention. And I'm going to give honorable mention to Chris Snowden, my damn self, because that's the honorable mention. That's the number one snub of the day. But salute to any and everybody that got recognized. If I got your names, this is just off the top, nothing written down. But definitely appreciate you guys. Appreciate your coaching staff, man. Got a bowl game to get ready for. Hopefully we go to the Belt Bowl. Just hopefully it's a bowl that's on December 31st. Until next time, good as the enemy of great. Be great in everything that you do, man. Ball Hawk, I'm out.
I want the whole world spin my record. Cheryl, the hooded styles, check game, stay free records. Oh, shorty girl fed to death and I'm massaging. Bad news, even be massaging. I got a fitted head, I be massaging. Pinky rings on my finger, I'm massaging. I got a speedboat concert cause I massage. I coming through about a whole Econo Lodge. I be massaging, I be massaged. I'm coming through with Cadillacs and massaging. Yeah, boats I'm constantly massaging. I got GPS's, I be massaging. I catch croaker fish cause I'm massaging. I like a macaroni plate, I be massaging. Even oodles and noodles, I be massaging. Straight out the ghetto cause I'm massaging. I got ice around my neck cause I'm massaging. Or even gold teeth, I'm massaging. A pinky ring iced out cause I'm massaging. I got $100 million, I be massaging. I got $10, I be massaging. I got $1,000, I be massaging. I got 22 cents and be massaging. I take a penny and be massaging. I tell shorty girl fat, I be massaging. Your big cute, I be massaging. I be massaging, I be massaging. I got a GPS steering wheel massaging. Whole share road chain be massaging. I got a Uzi, I be massaging. I got a 12 gauge pump, I massage. I got 100,000, I massage. Ain't broke, I be massaging. I stay paid, I be massaging. I stay late, I be massaging. I hit the pool all night cause I'm massaging. She wanna come through loaded and massage. Whole team, we massage. Bad new posse constantly massage. Ain't no joke, I be massaging. Even the bacon and eggs, I be massaging. Polo shirts, Chateau Adidas, I be massaging. I love you, sweetie cake. Spin my record, let me give you the game. On how to get rich. Take a penny and flip a penny. Then 40 billion. Why? I be massaging. What? Car steering wheel. I be massaging. The whole label of the Stay Free Records in the VA. Oh, we be massaging. Let's have a money shot.